Hello, everybody. I think which channel I'm on. Oops. Not really with it at all today. I was so ill yesterday. I couldn't get off the sofa. Anything was an effort. So I'm getting there. I'm just very hot today. I have questions for you regarding hot. One is, I got these glasses recently, and they're the ones you're supposed to kind of down here more. Okay. And I have a bridge on the end of my nose, so my glasses can either sit there or much lower down there. Okay. Now, it's hot. My glasses, when they're like this, slide down to about here anyway. So when I'm wearing them like this, they're continually coming off my face. What can I do if you wear glasses to stop this? There must be some gripper thing, but I don't really want a gripper thing because they won't fit right if I do. So have any of you got any ideas, if you wear glasses, what I can do to stop them? I mean, it's so hot. They literally run a channel down the side of my nose, and they're constantly, if I have them down here that I'm doing craft or something, then I've only got to lean forward and they're literally falling off. The optician did bend them for me. She melted them and bent them around, but she said you really shouldn't have them anymore or they're not right. And this was the first time I've had these kind of glasses where they sit here, and she thought they were better for me, so that, yes, when I don't need them, I'm not using them. So if anyone can give me help on that. The other thing you can help me with was the heat. I haven't got my fan on today. I made this beautiful backdrop from my old stage curtains. It wasn't still the full curtain. They were red ones or gold ones. And I used the remnants I got off and made, as you see here. Now, when I have my fan on now, they completely go everywhere. I have got a board at the bottom standing there, like a notice board, that holds them a little bit to the wall, but it's not enough. I only have the fan on the lowest. The fan is here, literally on next to you, back a little bit on a stand. If you've got any ideas what I can do to literally keep them against the wall. It's not a solid wall. It's very thin. It's a fake wall. So it's very thin, so I can't really put like screws or anything like that into it. Come out the other side into the corridor. Hello there, Blue. How are you doing? So if any of you have got ideas, I'm thinking kind of along the middle, some bit of string and maybe even drawing pin it in. That's all I can think, like invisible line. Hey, here for a bit. Thanks, Teddy. Teddy's supporting me on both my channel lives at the moment, so I really appreciate that, Teddy. Thank you very much. And once my volunteer's gone, I will be back with all your channels again. I seem to be constantly saying that I'm coming back to all your channels. As soon as I came back, I had another volunteer come, so I do feel I should socialise with them. But of course, I want to do my lives. Oh, Blue's done her archaeology dig. Oh, I can't wait to hear all about that. Did you get to film it or not? Because she wasn't sure if you could film it. Oh, that's really exciting. Because Blue did had the opportunity to go on a special occasion dig. And she was going to see if she could film it. Oh, I hope you got something from it. I bet that was fun. Not this time, maybe another time. It's a lot of fun. Something I'll be doing every week. Oh, cool. I didn't know if it was going to be a regular thing, but not that regular. Oh, that's cool. Can't wait to hear all about that. That'll be exciting. Literally around the corner across the road. That couldn't be more perfect. So long as it's not in your garden. Although that would get your digging done, wouldn't it? I do know, what was that programme in England where Tony Robinson, he goes and does the digs and that. Yeah, but people were doing that. The Time Team, that's the one. And people were actually like trying to come across things to say that they could come and dig their garden, but actually just wanted their gardens dug up. So that was quite funny. So if anyone's got any help on either of those 2 points, I would be very pleased. And as I say, I will be back. We're not going to have any more workaways for a while. So it's quite hot anyway. So, and the sort of things we want doing, it is getting far too hot for them to be outside. She got up today at 7:30 she started work. She said, we let them start whatever time they want. They've got 3 hours to do. They can't come back and do it in the evening later on because it's still hot. We don't get like that cool down evening. It just stays hot until about midnight. It's still warm at midnight, but then it cools a little bit sort of early hours of the morning, and then it all starts up again. So we always warn them of that, but then we say, well, you start whatever time you like and you can always adjust it. And so she said, could she start now at 7:30, and that gives 3 hours, and it's still too hot, but it's things we need doing. And you can't have them just sitting doing not a lot, because that's not what they're here for. They're here to help you. So the Workaway volunteer site does say that it's up to them to kind of know if they're going to a hot country or a rainy country. There is some countries there that are torrential rain at certain times of the year, and they actually put on their site that if you choose to come at this time, you can't say, oh, sorry, I'm not going out in rain, if that's what the jobs are. So anyway, so what have I got for you today? Today, I thought I would mix Blast from the Past with, let's take a look at a book I took from my book Nook, because it's something that I'm sure most people have done at some point. There's a lot of people like myself that was never allowed to do such a thing, and it's eating chewing gum. I was never allowed chewing gum or bubble gum. So this is really pastimes, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, most people, probably had chewing gum. And this is all about Wrigley's, how it all began, Wrigley's chewing gum. And these are the original packets and advert. Freshen your taste. I'll read it backwards. Freshen your taste. I never liked the smell. When my friends had this fruity one, I couldn't stand the smell of it. It was terrible. So let me read you about this. In 1891, William Wrigley moved from Philadelphia to Chicago. He was 29 years old. He had $32 and the ambition to start his own business. He also had a great talent as a salesman. Blue can't stand chewing gum or bubble gum. It's plastic. Anyone who doesn't know, it is plastic. In his new business in Chicago, William sold soap to the wholesale trade. To stimulate buying, he offered various premiums with each purchase. One of the premiums or free gifts was baking powder. It proved to be more popular than the soap, so he decided to switch to the baking powder business. Then one day in 1892, he had the idea of offering 2 packs of chewing gum with each can of baking soda. The offer was a big success. This time it was the chewing gum which seemed more promising. Lou says it's bad for you and even worse for your teeth. Yes, by chewing constantly and never swallowing, you're telling your body you're eating. Mr. Wrigley decided that chewing gum was a product with the kind of future possibilities that he had been looking for. His first 2 brands of gum were named Lotta Gum and Vassar. Juicy Fruit came next in 1893, and Wrigley's Spearmint was introduced later in the same year. He was a pioneer in the use of advertising to promote the sale of branded goods. He concentrated on his spearmint, and in 1906 decided to advertise the gum on a modest scale. Results were promising, and he made plans to expand it in 1907. That year, a general business slump started, and all companies slashed expenses. Not so Wrigley. He felt that with everyone else cutting back, this was the ideal time to get extra attention from his advertising. Lou says, not just that, but it forces your saliva glands to constantly coat your teeth, and it wears off the enamel as it's acid. Indeed. By 1910, Wrigley's Spearmint was America's favourite gum. PK chewing gum, a sugar-coated gum in pellet form, was introduced in tightly sealed package rather than loose in a box. The product's name came from a slogan playing up this feature. Packed, as in the P, packed tight, K, as in kept right. Factories were established in Australia in 1915 and in Great Britain in 1927. During the Second World War, the armed forces took large quantities as gum had proved a help to ease in their tension, promoting alertness and improving morale. In 1944, the entire output was turned over to the US Armed Forces overseas and at sea. Got any gum, chum? Was a popular catchphrase of the time. Today, the company has operations worldwide with sales of $1 billion annually and is a market leader in many countries where brands are sold. So, yeah, it's what they call something simple, cheap to produce, and sells. And I agree with Blue. I think it looks awful when particularly children talk and you see it or just wander around. I was always taught if you eat, you sit and you eat. And the concept of walking around chewing, no, utterly gross. Blue is not a fan. No, it's a thing. And I remember when the ice cream man used to come round to the school, they used to do in a plastic cone with a little bobble at the bottom, and it was a bit of bubble gum, a round ball bubble gum in the bottom. And I liked the ice cream, and my mother would not allow me to have the ice cream because she said, I know you'll have the bubble gum. I was like, what? So we couldn't have it. And then I said, I won't eat it. And she said, oh, but you're paying for the bubble gum. Screwballs, that's it. Screwballs. Blue, you just have all the answers. That was it. Screwballs. So no, we weren't allowed those. Tanny bought some the other day. We just chuck out the bubble gum. I wasn't allowed to do that. My deprived childhood. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little. I'm interested in things like that, where they came from and the history and things like that. Let's go on to knacks, hacks, facts and stats. Let's go on to that. And I thought today I'll do a little bit of baking tips because I've been doing so many household tips lately, and I'm always doing gardening tips within my videos. One pops out of my mouth, or yes, if you actually watch, I'm doing on my other channel, which is linked below if you don't know what my other channel is. I'm doing a new series now, Dawn's Diaries, and it's basically just little short snippet bits. Like this is short, but even shorter than these. I just do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, lots of little short bits. So if you like a video, you don't like to watch like a whole long video of one thing, that would be for you. The first one's not been posted yet because, you know, I had to pre-schedule my videos up until my volunteers gone. So it's made, but it's not going to be posted till after mid-July. So in that, there's actually the one I just edited today was the second episode of that. And there's some interesting little tips popped up there. Anyway, baking tips. Number 1. Put dates through a mincer before making a date loaf. This ensures a moist loaf and a more even distribution of the fruit. Oh, Blue. That's why I'm having them now. I wasn't allowed them either. Tell me this, as a parent, do you allow your children to have what you weren't allowed, or are there lots of things you think, I see why now? So that's always interesting. And don't you find grandparents always do things for the grandchildren that they wouldn't allow the parent to do as a child? Yes. It's like my mother never allowed me to have sleepovers. And no, you wasn't even allowed someone to stay at our house. And now she has the grandchildren to stay and their friends, the friends of the grandchildren. I mean, what's that all about? Her own daughter couldn't have friends to stay. Okay, second baking tip. When raisins become hard, put them in a colander over a saucepan of nearly boiling water. After a few minutes, the steam makes them plump and juicy again. Not really, unless it was birthdays or special occasions. Cool. Baking tip 3. Make your own shortbread in the usual way. Then melt a Mars bar and spread it over the top. Leave to harden before slicing. That's a little bit like school dinners. We used to have butterscotch tart, which was basically like shortbread almost. And then it was butterscotch on top. I just can't get butterscotch. I love butterscotch. Butterscotch sauce. Okay, next baking tip. Back to normal. Ding! Forget the butterscotch. When plain biscuits go soft, place a chocolate drop on each one. Put in a low oven for 10 minutes for crisp chocolate biscuits. And 2 more baking tips. When melting chocolate, place in a stainless steel jug in the oven with the buns or the cake, and it will be ready when they are cooked. It also helps to grease the sides and bottom of the container, as this prevents sticking and waste. And the final baking tip for today. After a baking session, rinse floury basins, cutlery or the board first in cold water, because the hot water will make the flour more difficult to remove. That annoys me when I make my pizzas. I make it from complete scratch, and I make my dough, no yeast in my dough, and I roll the dough out, and then the worktop is gummy. It doesn't matter how much flour I put down. In fact, it's because I put the flour down, it becomes gummy, and I just get annoyed sorting that out. Blue says, I don't know about that one for the chocolate, unless the temperature of the oven is really low, or you've turned off the oven because you'll burn the chocolate. Yes, I think it depends exactly what you're actually cooking. You get baked chocolate. Blue, if you want to put a link to your channel in, you know you're always welcome. Chuck a link in there. Chuck a link. Okay, I haven't done for a long time on this channel. It is Monday Fun Day, so we should do jokes, quotes, puns and fun. I haven't done this section for a long time. Jokes, quotes, puns and fun. So I thought I'd do some jokes. You're all good. You are all good. Okay, so jokes. Let's cheer ourselves up. What does a clock do when it's hungry? It goes back 4 seconds. It goes back for seconds. I accidentally rubbed ketchup in my eyes. Now I have hindsight. Cool. 2 toothpicks are walking in a forest. Suddenly, a hedgehog runs by. One toothpick says, I didn't know buses came through here. I love that one. Oh, I love that one. I think that was so funny. Oh dear. A man goes to see his doctor, saying he's concerned he's slowly shrinking and is in a real panic about how small he will become. Don't worry, says the doctor. It will take a long time. Just learn to be a little patient. Just learn to be a little patient. If I was on my StreamYard live, I've got something I could have put up then. I'd have been so funny. Need to grab something to eat. Okay, be right back. You're going to some jokes, Bluey. Okay, next one. A new restaurant has opened on the moon. Great food, but no atmosphere. I move you to my phone. Oh, cool. It doesn't want to miss the jokes. I need some water anyway. I've run out of Coke. Luckily, I had a water. I carry water around everywhere I go. Always have a beaker because I knock things over all the time. So this is why you often see a beaker. Although I have a glass here normally, but I have my water. I've got the cicadas all the time at the minute. Oh, okay. What did the fish say when it hit the wall? Damn. Oh dear. Never use a broken pencil. It's pointless. Oh dear. How does a penguin build his house? He glues it together. Glues it together. Oh dear. Crazy. What did the astronomers do when they got fed up watching the moon's revolution around the Earth? They just called it a day. Mum jokes. Okay, one more. What's the difference between bird flu and swine flu? One requires treatment, the other ointment. Teddy says, I would lose my cool with my own kids, bump the car. I freaked out at them. Now grab babies, seat in the car, runs into on their bike and electric cars. Now just look away. Oh dear. Definitely. Okay, what should we do now? Let's do, it can't be on too long today. So I thought, I didn't know what to make this section. Do I make it art and crafts part? Or do I make it inspiration and creation? Or do I make it discover, sort, declutter and organise? Oh, I do like sharing my organising with you. Well, I've only got one little bit. This is a folder. I got it free at some point with Cross Stitch magazine. And in here, all falling out already, I have just thrown any little odd bits and pieces of cross stitch patterns. So when you get like these little things, now this one came from a mug. You could actually, it was like a plastic mug. The jokes were so funny. Bless you. And when you had the mug, you actually had some different templates and you can make cross stitch around the mug. So you had the alphabet, so you could do someone's name on the mug, and that kind of went in an insert. So you had a plastic inner, you put the cross-stitch material round, and then there was like a coating, clear coating. So I've got that one. I smell burning. I haven't smelled burning on my laptop for a long time. No, and the keyboard, do you remember that my old one used to get so hot, the keys, you touch them and I used to have little tiny burns on the end of my fingers. So any odd bits and pieces of cross stitch, but I want to really organise this better. So this is probably out of a magazine. So we've got houses. They're quite nice. It's like odds and ends that you might want a picture of to create something. It's not one big picture, it's lots of little bits. So some properties there. We got a boat, vraka, a car, avtokinito, another little boat there. Is that a truck? Is that a truck? I think that's a truck. And then we got, oh look, mantles. Mantles. Ooh. And then, oh, gardening tools. What's that? Sport things. Oh yeah, racket. Looks like roller skate or inline skate. Boxing glove. What's there? Oh, some sweeties. Some sweetie, no bubble gum. So there, and then there's some on the other side. We have, I was going to say office things, but you've got beer as well. Maybe, who knows? And then you've got like a letter. I think that's bread under the letter. I've used that tree and a shrub, I think, or one similar in my garden cross stitch that I was in the process of doing. Little teapot, little van. I think that's like salami. Doggy, another bush. Oh, maybe it was that bush I used, the little one. What's that? Egg on toast, is it? Who knows? Washing machine. Boot. That might be a roller skate. Pizza. You got some, obviously, some borders. Oh, little duckies on the top. First aid man, I guess, or lifeguard, who knows? Lady. Showing her legs off. Flowers and trees and things. A dummy. Crib. Baby toy. High chair. Some children there. So anything odd like these, odd things. Where's that little one gone? Oh, it's there. Some are bigger than others. This is a very small leaflet. This is all Christmas stuff. Christmas pictures. There's like some little sayings. Christmas animals. More Christmas animals. Badger. Robin. I did sit down one day, or it probably took more than one day, before I moved to Cyprus, and I literally went through every magazine and I made, like, I think I've shown you before, like little file cards, like the little prompt cards, index cards, that's what they're called. And I kind of tried to reference a lot of things like Christmas animals and wrote what magazine it was in. I don't think I did these little ones though, my big magazines. So yeah, these are just, I suppose you could make these into Christmas decorations to hang on the tree, maybe. So there's those kind of things. Oh, this one's quite sweet. Again, this is probably out of a normal magazine and they had a cross-stitch page, maybe. It's quite sweet. That cat looks a bit more like a mouse, I think. Cat's there. And this side, grape hyacinth embroidery and bluebell stencil. Ooh. There's that. Again, these are just like sort of this much. Oh, it's like Q&A's. Q&A. That's why they're there. Q&A's with cross stitch. Q&A. You've got a cross stitch question. Little thin magazine again here. So I want to sort these a little bit more. The sort of baby things. Yeah, these kind of things. What they called samples. Oh, thank you, Blue. Blue's put a link up to Old Car Junkie. Do check out Old Car Junkie, and don't forget to check out Blue's Self-Reliance. And don't forget to check out my other channel. So balloons, and numbers, I suppose for ages and date of birth, more letters there. I do like to find things with different styles of lettering. And there's some more baby things. Big rocking horse, that one's quite nice, with the teddy bear at the bottom. But really it's for these little odd things. So these are little cards. These came free often with a cross-stitch magazine on the front, and it was always, I think you got the material as well. Does it say? Your kit includes everything you need. Yes, I think it came with a little needle. I think the card as well, the cross-stitch and the thread. And these will always be every now and then on the front of a cross-stitch magazine. So you can make a little kit, and these are great because these fit cards. So I keep these because if I want to make cards, I know they're going to fit. And I actually bought myself more of cards, but different shapes. I had round ones. I haven't got any left now, actually. Round ones, oval shapes, squares. So they're always good to make cards. This one, now I showed this on Blues the other day, and I think it might be in Blue. So was it actually embroidery? Yes, it is. It's tapestry. It says tapestry, and it's a pincushion, and I actually use that. I've got a small box with compartments in with a plastic lid, and look at me dripping. And I actually keep it. There's a square in there, and it's big enough for the pincushion that I keep the needles in for cross stitch. So I don't have to keep unthreading a needle and putting a different colour in. If I've got some left of a colour and I'm going to need it again, I can keep them threaded. But I actually use it upside down. So you didn't have anything for it. I think you just had the top. I don't remember there being a bottom because I had to find some material for that. So there's that one. This one is a coaster that I've actually got on my bar. I'm dripping. Oh, this one. Tomcat, as in Tom and Jerry. And Jerry. And if you find a picture, you can reuse them even if you haven't got the pattern, as long as you can get close enough. Dawn's other channel, yay, go Blue. I do lives on there on Fridays. I've actually linked the times to that live below. So I've just started doing lives on Fridays, and they're completely different. Completely different to this one and my Wednesday one. And we have Christmas one. I've used all of these, obviously, because I haven't got the kits anymore. I do try to remember to take photos of things before I send them if I make a card or something. I haven't got every single one, but I do try and remember sometimes. That's quite a nice one. That's quite nice. Christmas card. As I say, these little ones are all cards. Happy Mother's Day. Again, you don't need to put the words, obviously. You can put everything you like. There, now that looks like it was a tree decoration. I used that as a card, made a Christmas card. It's just got one each side. So we've got a hot air balloon and bouquet of flowers. House. Obviously, you've got to check your card, make sure your card's got enough space. The round ones don't always have enough space for these, so you have to count them. Not sure what this is a picture of. It looks like a person flying. I've got no idea what this is supposed to be. And a person Any ideas? It looks like a person flying in the sky. Oh, this is a flower. I thought this was a boy. Or is it supposed to be a flower in the wind? And what's this? What's this black thing? What is this supposed to be? It says to Grandpa. Is it two people? I got no idea what that is supposed to be. Oh, bless you, Blue. Going on Mike's other channel. Oh, you're sweet. I've got no idea what that is supposed to be. I've never done that one, and I don't think I ever will. Because that's to Grandpa on that side. I am thinking it might be something, but that can't be right. I think he's coming down from heaven. But you wouldn't be doing a card to Grandpa, would you? I've got no idea what that is. What's this on the head? This looks like a person flying. And this, I would say, is a boy or a flower growing. I don't know. Got no idea what that is. Then we have cup of tea. That's sister, but as I say, you don't have to do those. That's to my brother, windmill. Windmill. Then we have, oh, this is handy. You couldn't say that's handy, you're like, is it? Letters of the alphabet. Hey, Mr. Jimmy, how are you doing? You know it was Light and Love's birthday yesterday, do you? If you didn't see her on her channel, do pop over and say hello to Light and Love. Happy day, Light and Love. Yes, it was her birthday, and she was nifty 50, as she says. Nifty 50. So a special birthday. It was a very special birthday. So there's a rocket. That's not very exciting. I don't like ones where they just use the outline to make them. I don't like that very much. Terry. Yes, Terry. Terry. Ask her, if you go on her channel, ask her how Hope is. How do you know? How do you know about Hope? Who's Hope? Ask how Hope is. She'd be amazed. I like lighthouse pictures. Yes, I've done a painting of a lighthouse. I haven't got it right here to show you. It was only a painting by numbers, but it was really nice. This one's not very exciting. And then you've got this one. See, again, I don't like that because you've got the full squares and they've just used outlines. I don't like those sort of ones. What's this? Oh, this is me trying to design some cross stitch. So I printed some pictures I wanted onto square paper. Looks like I was going to do a Mexican theme at some point, and then I was going to translate it into a cross stitch. Got a little gecko, flag, country, cactus, and that I was going to use for the border. I don't recall ever making it or why I was making a Mexican one. Yeah, so I'm trying to draw it out then to make it into the squares. Oh, here's a bit more of it. So I've obviously done it bigger to try and, oh, my work wire's back. She's been out. So I was trying to do that. So odds and ends in here. Oh, here's the pictures I got initially. So what you can do, you don't even need the cross stitch material. You could cut that out and just mark squares, even squares on top of it, or do it with tracing paper on proper squared paper, and then you can just pin it onto any material at all and cross stitch. This is one I did for my friend. I think I showed this on Blue's channel. This is how I started making it. I did a piglet. Yes, I think I did show this on Blue's channel. I've got lost now what I showed on Blue's channel. So I wanted to do piglet for my friend's birthday and I framed it. So this was me drawing it and trying to work it into squares, because I didn't have a pattern of a piglet. And all my workings out, I'm sure there's a better way of working things out than the way I do them, and then making different colour marks for different colours that I was going to use. So that was on a border. I was working out the corners, what the pattern was going to be. Yeah, I only need to work out corners, and then yeah. So I actually made a piglet. I do have a photo of that made, which is, if you go on Blue's channel on Thursdays, alternate Thursdays, but on the opposite day, it's on Ginger's channel. Put a link to that if you want, Blue. And you can show your crafts. Teddy, you need to go on there and send in, email Blue some of your drawings. And they love to show them. It's a really great community. They're very encouraging. And I love the way Blue always says, I appreciate how hard it is for Dawn to do those things. My heart melts when you say that, Blue. That's so kind. So, yes, Teddy, you need to go on there. So here's just working out something else. I don't know what that was for. No, I've made some more on the Mexican. I don't know what that was for. I don't recall ever actually making it. So I'm now trying to blow it up to actually make it into squares. So it's now more pixelated, if you like. So that's how I figure that out. I won't get rid of things because I might need to use them again. Teddy says, cool lighthouse with rocks and water waves over the rocks. That piglet is so cool. Thanks. Takes a lot of work. Still here waiting for my package. Once it arrives, I'll make the mail call video. Yeah, you won't get it yet because I haven't sent it. When they come, I'll explain why they've been delayed. There's something else I'm getting at the moment, so I can't send them. I want to send them all at the same time. So there's something else I'm getting at the moment, and I can't go and get it until my volunteer's gone, because we need to go distance to get something. So they won't be sent till mid to end of July, so don't hold your breath. No worries, no. So here, now knitting patterns are quite good. I don't knit, but if you find a knitting pattern, you can do cross stitch. So there we go. So this is a knitting pattern, Wallace and Gromit. And as I say, if you've got squares like this, you either use this if you're going to use it once, or photocopy it, pin it on any item of clothing, and just cross stitch on top. The paper will disintegrate as you're cross stitching, so start from the top and work your way down. If you wash something, the paper would wash out if any was left, or if you're really finicky, you could sit with the pin and just release any bits that are left afterwards. If it's a jacket or something like that, in time, all the paper would slowly disappear anyway. But as I say, if you're cross stitching it, most of it does come out from underneath as you're cross stitching it, particularly if you've got sweaty hands. So you can do cross stitch on absolutely anything, and it doesn't need to be a cross stitch pattern. I've got a knitting pattern for a grommet. Did you know I like grommet? Do like grommet. This, I don't know, I think this is cross stitch. There's patterns. So this is all in this folder. So it would be nice to, with my plastic sheets maybe, these bigger bits. Oh, strawberry. Oh, we've got fruits here. Oh, they might on my apron. I'm going to leave that one out. You know, I'm doing my apron with vegetables and things. Go leave that one out. See, always worth sorting things. If it fits. Oh, we have some more letters. I must do a file of anything with letters, actually. Now, this is what I originally was going to make on that bag. You know, I'm doing Fred Flintstone and Wilma. So weird person at the door, being looking everything out because I'm like, oh, Blue, I'm coming, Blue, I'm coming. I'm coming, stay safe. Yeah, on my bag I was going to do Tintin, but it wasn't big enough and wasn't big enough at all. And to sit and rework it all out, I just went with Fred Flintstone and Wilma. But I would like to do maybe a t-shirt or like an AirTech sports top. I'd like to maybe do Tintin and Snowy on. I don't know whether to do it on the front or the back. Maybe the back would be cool. But I would like to do Tintin and Snowy at some point. I like the new films they did of that. Do you remember they did films of Tintin? They were very well done. No, you don't. Exactly. Yes, you see, I've prepared this one because I was going to do it. I photocopied it and I counted it, worked it all out. So that will be done. So now that one, because I've got the original, this one, I could literally cut out the main border, pin that on something and start stitching. Yes, you could do a bag, but I'm going to take Kathy's advice from Little Garden Big Dreams and some of those kits I got from Cross Stitch. If you remember, there were two kind of, I think they were Asian or Malaysian girls, and there were two matching kits. Now I haven't looked at the size, but I thought because there's two very similar, I could make them a bag back to back. Obviously I need a lining in it and make that into a little bag if it's big enough. So that's Kathy from Little Garden Big Dreams. What's this? Shaggy dog. Oh, this. I was like, what's this? This technically shouldn't belong in there, but it's okay. It's a craft. This is, he's behind me, my cushion, my shaggy dog. Now, this is like a rag rug. People talk of rag rugs. There's two versions. There's I've made the original rag rug where you literally use rags, but this is like the wall type one. And you make the same concept. I've got the tool for it. And again, you could do a cross stitch, use the same pattern. I could actually do a cross stitch to match. I could do something to match him. And because it's wool, you buy like the wool in kits. It's like a big round thing of loads of strands this size. And I love doing those. If I could afford the material for the big rugs, I would make another one. That's why I made a small one, because they're quite expensive, this sort of wool rag rug. And here's my cushion. You had to provide the material and the stuffing. You just got the front material. And I think you had to buy the loopy tool, but I had that anyway. So the kit came just with the material and the wool. But I love that. Yes, latch hook, that's the word. I love it when Blue's on because I don't have to use my brain and think of the right words for things. But yeah, I love him. And I think because it's wool and he's kind of a shaggy dog, I think that looks really good. And he is always behind me, perching my back, the small of my back. They're gorgeous. Tintin's awesome. Yeah. Have you seen the like Real Person film? It's really good. I don't like it when they do remakes and that of things, but that was good. Wonder if any of my pics would work on t-shirts. What do you think? Yes, they would. Yes, they would. That would be awesome. That would be really good. You could even just draw straight on square paper and then it's sorted out. If you've got a half, let's find something to show you. You just do a half stitch. Well, these are going to be full squares. But you can do like a half stitch if you've got half of a square. So you don't have to draw in full squares, or you can just pixelate it all. What else we got? Oh, this one I think I showed on Blues. I think. I'm so mixed up now what you've seen, Blue, and what you haven't on your channel. I made this card. That I think came with the card as well. So I made that card. Scraps. What's this? Oh, no, I told you about the mug at the beginning, how you could make a whole mug. Well, this is me planning a mug. And I've got borders, and I've made penguins. So it's me kind of working it out to be penguins. I've got some more penguins on this side as well. Yeah, look, penguins. And if you don't know cross stitch, the different markings are different colours or shades, because even if you wanted all black, you won't necessarily have all black, you would have like different shades. So the different symbols are different colours. I don't have a picture of that, I don't think. What's this? Oh, birdhouse. This is part of my garden picture I was doing. Would you believe that's a birdhouse? So again, I've adapted it from something that was much bigger. Every time I folded something in, it's like, well, that's too big. So I have to cut bits off. Oh, this is the pump, the water pump. That's what that is, not the birdhouse. That's the water pump. It was a great big picture of a water pump, a tap and a stone base and the water. It was far too big. I was trying to work out how to shrink that down. Can't remember. I've slept since then. How funny. And then a little small book, cross stitch basics, just guides. I'm not someone who reads instructions or guides how to do things. That looks fancy. Decorative hems. Maybe I should read these things. Working on canvas. Techniques. Oh, it's how to, oh look, how to use your tools. Look, I need to know how to do these. Kathy told me learn. Hoops. Hoops are made of wood or plastic, come in a variety of sizes. A hoop or frame will keep your work taut, make it easier to create neat, even stitches. Place your fabric in the hoop so your cross stitch is positioned centrally. Yes, a lot of these came with the auction sets. I knew what they were for. You get different versions of those. If you're doing a project, you can work all your colours out first. I don't do that. I've got similar to this. I haven't got the clear one, but I've got lots of like little magnets of magnetic board. I use those if I'm doing bigger projects, but not for tiny projects. What's this? Magnifying glass? Yes, magnify. Stitch converter. Maybe I need one of those because I've got no idea how you work out. Look, I must go. Okay, lovely to see you, Jimmy. I'll be back probably end of July. This rate, I don't have a leaving date for her at the moment. Mid to end of July. Yeah, I don't know how to work out cross stitch. As I say, I'm self-taught, and that doesn't mean I learned how to do it from anywhere. I just do my thing. So I don't know how you work out, like convert from if it's one size the other. I just sit there with a little pin and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is a measure thing I've got, but I'm not really sure. Perhaps I need one of these converters, but whether I'd understand how that works, I don't know. Helps to calculate the material count and the amount if you want to adapt any creative cross-stitch designs. I think I might need one of those, but I need to know how to use it. It looks a bit complex. It's probably really easy. Maybe I need to look into that. They can't be expensive, can they? Now that would have been handy in that auction stuff I got. Embroidery threads. So you got DMCs, shaded cotton, stranded cotton, embroidery cotton, different sorts of DMCs. So you've got all the different types. Maybe I should leave this out and read this. maybe. Different materials you can use. I don't like using this sort of stuff. I can't see it. To use it. Going the wrong way because I was going backwards. Yeah, I'm not keen. I don't know why they have all these funny bits on some of them. I don't really know that. Diamonds and circles work into plain cotton materials, allows you to work cross-stitch designs and create unique homemade items. Okay, they're for particular things. 18 count, 14 count, 12 count. I think I'll go and read this. Cross-stitch charts. I kind of follow a chart. Technique, double running stitch, back stitch. Assisi work, is that right? This style of embroidery where design areas on the fabric are left empty and the background is filled with cross stitch. Double running stitch is used to outline the cross stitch. It's named after the town. Oh, Assisi. Right, now I know what they're saying. It's named after the town of Assisi in northern Italy, where this style of embroidery originated. Traditionally, only one colour thread was used. I've seen these done with black, looks very effective. But today colours are mixed. The work is carried out in 2 stages. Stage 1, outline the motifs with double running stitch as shown. Stage 2, fill the background with cross stitch worked in rows. When the outline is slanting, it's impossible to work a full cross stitch. So use 3/4 cross stitch into the corners. I don't know if I'd have the concentration for that, but I do like it because, you know, I like things like Mandela patterns and things like that. That would look nice if you're making, I don't know, what would you call them, like a little mat or something like that. Starting and finishing. Now I have a different way of starting that I have shared, which means you don't need a bit of thread. So if you want to know about that, I've done that before. Vertical cross stitch, horizontal cross stitch for everyone. Yay, sampler sensations and get stitching. Yes, so I might have a little look at that. I'll leave that over there. That's all in that file. So as I say, I think now I want to kind of tidy that out. Let's use my plastic sheets for the full page type ones, and then maybe something for the little odd bits, because that I think needs sorting. They're together, but they're not tidy. So maybe I'll leave that out to do. And let's finish today with my last segment that we're going to call Sow, Grow, Mow and Ho, Ho, Ho. Yes, it's a gardening segment. And I just thought I'd read a little bit about figs. My figs are almost ready for picking. We have green figs and we have purple figs. We don't do anything with them. Someone was asking me the other day. We just eat them because they're constant, and we just eat them as a fruit. So we just eat figs. I don't do anything with them. Can't be bothered, and it's nice to just eat them, pick them, eat them. And we have to pick them before the hornets get to them. We have oriental hornets, and someone asked me today if they're a problem for the tree. No, they don't damage the tree. They are mostly on our pomegranates. If we leave the pomegranates and they split, and then they like to go in there. And the figs, if you don't pick them when they're ripe and they start to go a bit soft, the oriental hornets will go there. So I recommend, if you have fig trees particularly, don't have them near your house, because you'll have hornets and wasps and bees and whatever you get bug-wise flying in. So I would say that don't have them near your house, a fig tree. And don't let them get overripe. If you've got something, pick it before it starts to smell really sweet. It says here, figs are hardy deciduous trees, very long life of several centuries. Now we find some of our fig trees, and I have done a video which I haven't posted yet, counting every single fruit tree in my garden, how many of each fruit tree. So that's coming up. It's a bit long. Yes, I have a lot of fruit trees, and I was quite surprised how many of some trees I had. And I was thinking I'd like to actually just quiz Mike, I think, and say and film it and say how many do you think we got these? Because I was shocked actually when I was going around. I'm sure I may have missed some trees as well because they're random. So if he says more, he could be right. But I thought that might be an interesting one. Just how many do you think we've got of each type of tree, and go through, and then he says. And then I'll say, no, we got blah, blah. And he'd be like, no. I'll be, yes. That was a tiring day going from one side of the garden. Say I said orange tree. I started one end where the first orange tree was and went all the way through the garden. I've actually done some time-lapse filming, moving from one to the other. So you get a bit more concept of how spread out some of our trees are, and you might get a bit more info of what's where based on other places. It might well confuse you all the more. So, yes, I was saying some of our fig trees have got really thick bases. They're very old, but I noticed some of the branches going off are sort of a bit, I don't know, what would you say, old, as in they're no good anymore. So what we do is slowly, like we've done with our apricot trees, cut off each year the sort of more deady bits like that, and then gradually weed all the tree down. So yes, they can live for several centuries. Yield 6 kilograms, 13 pounds for a single crop on an outdoor fan or bush tree, up to twice this on a greenhouse tree, about 25 fruits on a 1.2 metre pot grown tree. Well, I beg to differ. Those are just full. Where are we? It can be easily grown in sheltered spots in temperate climates. Most often it's grown fan trained against the south facing wall. Again, I beg to differ. They're very good for shade trees, very good for shade trees. The downside of them are they have very big leaves, very big, and when they fall down, if you don't get raking of them when they first come down, they go very crispy, and you slightly touch them and they crumble, so they can be a pain, but they do go very well in compost, but you've got to really rake them up before they go dead crispy. Unlike grapes or most other fruit trees, once planted, it requires little attention apart from watering, pruning, largely being restricted to cutting back several shoots each year. The more we cut our trees, the more they sprout out the bottom, which can be a good thing. As I say, if you've got a really old tree, then leave some of those going and keep the best of them. So the more you cut them, the more they will spring up for sure. Frost is a major problem with growing figs. Although the tree is surprisingly hardy while dormant in the winter, it can survive temperatures as low as 10 degrees centigrade, which is 14 degrees Fahrenheit. A sudden frost after it started into growth in the spring can kill whole branches. Do not worry unduly about this, however. Figs are very rarely killed outright by frost, and usually new growth will grow up from the suckers from the roots. Although figs are most widely grown and crop most heavily in warm temperate regions, particularly in the Middle East, in one way, figs grown in cold temperate climates are better. The varieties most commonly grown in the Middle East contain seeds and must be pollinated by the fig wasp, which lives on wild figs and can live in warm climates. Blue says, I have to go make dinner. I'm on the phone, Tally, but shaken. Oh dear. Okay. Good luck, Blue. Keep calm. See you next time. The fig is a botanical curiosity because its flowers are contained inside the skin of the fruit, and only the fig wasp can enter the small opening in the skin to pollinate them. The varieties grown in the cold temperate climates, however, are of another type which produce fruit without pollination. Hence, they are seedless and make a sweeter, more delectable dessert than seeded figs. A fresh, seedless, thin-skinned fig is far superior to the dried figs, which, because the fig is too delicate to travel well, are all that can be obtained from the shops. Suitable site and soil. Although the fig is not delicate, neither is it completely hardy. Except in the mildest areas, it can only be grown outdoors in temperate regions if it is fan or horizontally trained and is given the protection of a south-facing wall. Ideally, the wall should be 2.4 metre high and about 4.5 metre long. South-facing and south-east-facing walls are all suitable. Alternatively, the trees can be grown in a greenhouse, either against a wall or as a bush. Bush trees outdoors are more delicate than fan trees and need warm sheltered spots such as the angle of two walls. The fig has two important soil requirements. It needs lime-rich soil and its roots must be restricted. There are two ways of restricting the roots of figs. The simpler way to begin with, but the harder from then on, is to rely on root pruning. This may well be adequate if you have shallow chalk soil, which will prevent the roots growing deeply. On most soils, however, you're better advised to restrict the roots by preparing a lined soil pit or by planting the tree in a pot. Now, I recommend just a normal tree. And I also say you can prune anytime, anyway, because it will just continue to grow no matter what. They are so hardy. And there is good aspect of the fig tree. So I'm going to leave it there today. I've done an hour. I've gone over my hour. I try to keep it an hour so it's not too much to watch back later. I appreciate all of you who do watch back later. I thank you very much. Thank you to those who managed to be here watching. And thank you again for being here. Till next time, as always, Maraki.